Straight ahead on IU NewsNet, 2 murders at Bloomington's homeless camp, and now 2 arrests. But how will the unhoused move forward now that the camp is shut down?
And a series of thefts at nearly a dozen IU sororities are raising alarms about resident safety. We'll have the reactions from Eagleson Avenue.
And a star IU women's basketball player sidelined due to injury. We'll show you how the team responded. IU NewsNet starts now. Welcome to IU NewsNet. I'm Kara Adams.
And I'm Emma Herwehe. 2 violent deaths at Bloomington's homeless camp. And just this week, police make a second arrest.
But the 2 murders in the span of a month have brought changes to a small tent city for Bloomington's unhoused. And with winter upon us, it has made their difficult situation even tougher. The orange sign at the entrance to Bloomington's largest homeless encampment says it all. The camp is now off limits and cleared of tents.
This encampment had some significant safety issues, and the downtown resource officers have been working with people who were living in the camp for a number of weeks.
And those safety issues, 2 homicides within a month. One by machete and the other with a gun.
In my 25 years of service within Bloomington, serving those experiencing homelessness in Bloomington, I have not seen this type of behavior in those years. And so it is concerning to me, and it's obviously something that needs to be looked into.
Police arrested 41-year-old Evelyn L. Kulehouani and charged her with shooting Curtis Butler, a man with whom she had a previous relationship with.
Violence against women that go back in camps a long way. Something that we all noted, that it was a woman who was arrested for that. So it makes me very curious as to what was behind that.
Back in December, another arrest was made. Police charged 42-year-old Craig Pearson with using a machete to kill Shaquille Phillips inside the tent.
I think we're seeing larger encampments, and I think that could be a potential. Those potentially could be more dangerous. Access to guns continues to be an issue and becomes more prevalent, so that's scary in a population that can be struggling with, mental illness, severe mental illness, and substance use disorders.
Add in recently bitterly cold temperatures and rising mental health issues, and you have what experts call a dangerous dynamic and potential housing crisis. Both Beacon and Wheeler mission directors are working to get the unhoused help and resources they need to get back on their feet.
It has warmed up this week, but some of the lakes in Bloomington still appear to be frozen. That's why Fire and Rescue is making sure they're ready for any ice emergencies. As January comes to an end, the Bloomington Fire Department conducted their yearly ice rescue drill. Although instances of falling through the ice are rare, the risk still remains a serious focus for first responders in the city. The well-equipped 10-man team trains with specially designed suits and a flotation device to save anyone who falls into the water.
Right now, the ice is probably about 5 or 6 inches thick, which normally is thick enough to walk on, but there can be thin places in that. So if they fall through and call for help, we're the ones that would show up to help them.
The department explained that many calls include people who attempted to help those who had already fallen in. They stress that if you see someone in the water, call emergency services immediately and do not go out onto the ice.
A pipe burst on Kirkwood Avenue caused many businesses to close their doors on Monday evening. Dunkirk Square on 430 East Kirkwood Avenue is the home of Upstairs Pub, Jimmy John's, Yadagasura, Insomnia Cookie, and other businesses. Firefighters responded to calls at 4:20 p.m. regarding the broken pipe. By 6 p.m., the pipe was fixed. Businesses were not allowed to reopen until sprinkler systems could be checked by fire marshals. Upstairs Pub announced via Twitter and Instagram they would be closed for the remainder of Monday nights. An online petition to IU administration is flooded with signatures and not due to a busted pipe. The suspension of an IU professor has many sounding the alarm over due process.
IU NewsNet's Julia Pearl joins us now with the story. Julia?
A petition in support of Professor Abdulkader Sino is up to nearly 400 signatures after he was suspended for what many are saying was a disproportionate response by the university. Abdulkader Sino, a tenured professor of political science and Middle Eastern studies, has spent more than 20 years of his career here at IU. But last month, IU suspended him until the fall semester, saying he mishandled a room reservation for a pro-Palestinian speaking event. This led the university to attempt to cancel the event due to a lack of available security.
The event took place without incident, though, but the university labeled his actions as a potential threat to safety.
I'm absolutely certain that Abdulkader Sino does not do anything to endanger the lives of people or threaten people. And in fact, this has been very little reported, but for years he organized Jewish-Arab discussion groups with students to bring students together across divides.
In addition to being accused of an outsized punishment, many are concerned that university administrators have failed to follow procedure themselves. Cases like this are normally heard by a committee of other faculty who listen to the case and recommend appropriate sanctions. These procedures were not followed before Sino was suspended. Professor David Pauly served on one of these committees.
In all that experience, I have never seen anyone sanctioned for misfilling out a form.
IU law professor Steve Sanders was among the first to publicly raise concern over the university's actions.
I think that was excessive, and I think they probably realized that a faculty committee would see it that way and would never go along with the idea.
Professor Sino's office is here in Woodburn Hall. However, due to sanctions imposed by the university, it sits empty. Along with the removal of his teaching duties, Professor Sino cited these sanctions as the reason why he was unable to be interviewed.
We reached out to IU for a comment, and they directed us to the provost's remarks from last week's Bloomington Faculty Council meeting.
At that appearance, the provost defended the suspension, saying, quote, "As with other events of potential high visibility and risk, the group was formally asked to reschedule the event for another time. The planners went ahead with the event, bringing exactly the risk to the community. We were fortunate that night that it did not escalate to any level." End quote. IU is also facing criticism for a decision later this month to abruptly cancel a long-planned on-campus art exhibit of a well-known Palestinian artist, again citing potential safety concerns. Now back to you.
Thanks, Julia. Another controversy on campus as the Indiana University student government faces an internal investigation. A report filed earlier this month accused the president and vice president of alleged anti-Semitism and recommended an impeachment trial. The Congress would need the 2/3 vote to remove the executive members from office. Meanwhile, 8 committee positions have opened up following the mass departures. The IUSG will hold emergency elections in the coming weeks. We'll keep you updated on this developing story.
Coming up, Bloomington is right in the path of the upcoming total solar eclipse, but it's not the first time. We'll shine a light on an exhibit with artifacts more than 160 years old.
Plus, new IU rules about dropping classes have some students frustrated. We'll take a look at how these rules may impact college transcripts. That story and more coming up on IU NewsNet. Enrollment is up on campus, but space is down.
IU Housing recently sent out an email saying they do not have any more housing availability on campus for non-first-year students next year. Current on-campus residents were invited to renew their housing contracts through a self-selection portal last semester. IU Housing says they are unable to reopen this portal this semester because they are out of space. Housing is limited due to Wright Quad being under construction, a dorm that normally can take over 1,000 freshmen. Students now must look off campus for housing options.
I think the price for the off campus is like extremely higher compared to on campus. I think it would be better if the campus offer, like, it could be more expensive but just better house quality.
Wright Quad will not be reopened until fall of 2025. Students are welcome to join the on-campus housing waitlist, though it is extremely limited. IU Housing is encouraging students to visit the IDS Spring Housing Fair on February 21st.
The spring semester has started with an unusual number of thefts, first at several dorms and now along Greek Row. IU NewsNet's Ari Betterly joins us with the widespread theft issues at sorority houses. Ari?
Sorority women have returned home after their chapters after winter break, but are noticing a trend. Some of their packages are missing.
11 sorority residents have reported missing packages since arriving back on campus in early January.
I contacted the detective there to explain that my packages were stolen as well, and I filed a police report, and so now they're on the lookout for the packages that were stolen.
The deliveries are disappearing right from their front porches.
Surveillance images catch 2 unidentified men carrying armfuls of various packages. Among the sororities affected are Sigma Delta Tau, Alpha Omicron Pi, and Chi Omega. The suspects who are walking up and picking up packages from sorority homes are doing it as simple as this. The sorority security cameras are located in different positions for each home, making finding the suspects more difficult for homes like AOPI.
If a package is delivered, somebody might not know it's there. So I think the biggest thing that needs to be done is that packages need to be checked for just in the morning and then at lunchtime.
IUPD recommends students require a signature for the delivery of the packages so they will not be left unattended. Students can opt to send their packages to local FedEx and UPSs to hold their packages at locations in Bloomington. They also can sign up for delivery alerts so students may be notified right when their package has been delivered to their home. Lead Detective Cartwright is looking for anyone who can identify the subjects captured on camera. If you can identify the suspects in these photos, contact IU Police.
Bloomington recently passed a law stating that all public places will be required to leave closed caption on their TV screens. The Americans with Disabilities Act already requires public places to turn on closed captioning when someone requests it, but the new law requires they remain on all the time. For people who rely on captions because they are hard of hearing, this is a welcome law. The law will go into effect about a year from now on January 1st in order to give businesses time for the adjustment.
The waitlist for classes has now expired and the deadline took many students by surprise. IU NewsNet's Kennedy Recklaw explains just why you should give your schedule and transcript a second look. Kennedy?
Scheduling changes involving the W withdraw tag on transcripts are leaving students on their advisor's door. But with the flood of requests, appointments have now become online only. The university made the decision to switch back to the pre-COVID dates, but many students were left scrambling after being unaware of the change.
Having a W on my transcript can just hurt me for future jobs and can hurt me for grad school applications. So I just think that that change was much more drastic than the university realizes.
The effects of receiving a W on your transcript can have effects later on. A W shows that you have withdrawn from a course, but without reasoning. This leaves it up to the discretion of the employer or program to decide what it means. And according to the media school advisor, Eliza Erksleben, withdrawals can have an impact on financial aid and/or graduate school and competitive admittance program applications. These rules will remain going forward, and we will keep you updated with any changes that may be made. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Kennedy. Bloomington is already preparing for thousands of visitors in April for the total solar eclipse. But it's not the first time we've been in the direct path. It happened 160 years ago as well. The Monroe County History Center has artifacts to show you how citizens and scientists in 1864 responded to the event. It features letters, newspaper accounts, and even sheet music. The exhibit runs at the History Center through April 13th, 5 days after the April 8th eclipse. Also, this week, IU announced it has grant money available for registered student groups planning eclipse-related events.
The Kelley School of Business has a new offering as well, a Master's of Management graduate degree starting this fall. Students can choose to focus on strategy leadership and human resources or entrepreneurship. The degree is open to both Kelley and non-Kelley graduates. Students who do not have a previous degree in business must take summer courses to learn the basics of the degree. The deadline to apply is March 1st. It was the best of times and the worst of times for IU basketball. We'll tell you the tale of two teams that are both in the midst of conference play.
And this NIL initiative allows athletes to give back to Bloomington community. We'll highlight the people and the players aiming to do good on and off the court. IU NewsNet Sports is next.
Well, at least one of IU's two basketball teams is doing well.
Even without a key player, Austin Platt joins us now with sports. Austin?
Yeah, well, Indiana got it done against Purdue on Sunday, and the Barn Burner Trophy is back here in Bloomington. Indiana women's basketball took the floor on Sunday against Purdue without one of their key players, Sydney Parrish. A tweet posted an hour before tip-off featured a photo of Parrish in a boot and crutches during the team's pregame shoot-around, the first any media had seen of her injury. Head coach Terry Morin disclosed to the media that the injury occurred at practice on Friday and Parrish would be visiting the doctor on Monday. No update has been released on the state of Parrish at this time. The absence of Parrish was an adjustment for the Hoosiers, but the game goes on. Indiana defeated rival Purdue 74-68, but that required the leadership of the other starters. Senior guard Chloe Moore McNeil and fifth-year guard Sarah Scalia notably stepped up, each recording 20 points and also breaking the total three-pointers made in an away game with 15. While Parrish's injury was a surprise to the public on game day, head coach Terry Morin never lost her confidence in her players' abilities to secure another Big Ten win.
We don't panic, and I don't panic with these guys. We know there's a task that we have to do. You challenge them, and then they're pretty good about going out and being able to execute whatever task or challenge that you give them.
Indiana is halfway through their week break to rest and recuperate before playing Northwestern here in Bloomington on Sunday. Now to Indiana men's basketball. Not a pretty story. Audrey Marr traveled to Wisconsin and has more on Indiana's recent loss to the Badgers. Audrey?
Yeah, thanks, Austin. I'm here at the Kohl Center in Madison, Wisconsin, where Indiana men's basketball suffered one of its worst losses of the season on Friday night to the number 11 Wisconsin Badgers, a 91-79 final score. And a big turning point for Indiana in this game was when Indiana guard CJ Gunn got ejected for hitting his elbow to the face of a Wisconsin player.
I can't control that. He was kicked out, and from that point on, we just, I thought we were playing pretty good. We gave up it was a 16-4 run at that point. I mean, they went off on a tremendous run and we couldn't get back.
Now Indiana will have over a week off until they have another big test ahead of them on the road as they will head to Champaign to face the number 14 Illinois Fighting Illini on Saturday, January 27th. Back to you, Austin.
Student athletes across the country have taken advantage of name, image, and likeness laws. However, at Indiana University, Hoosiers for Good has found a new way to benefit from these laws through the use of hands-on partnerships. Our Kennedy Rocklaw has the story.
The passing of name, image, and likeness laws in 2021 has changed the game for many athletes like these. However, one Bloomington organization has thought outside of the box, creating a new idea for college athletes in surrounding communities.
Hoosiers for Good is an NIL collective that was put together by a group of people who had an interest in not only helping out IU student athletes, but having student athletes magnify special causes in the Indiana community.
Special causes like Boys and Girls Club, Bloomington Health Foundation, and Stonebelt, and 30 other local nonprofit organizations throughout the entire state of Indiana and right here in Bloomington. As a partner would jump in for healthy kids, Haley Hunter, an Indiana senior water polo player, believes the service aspect of NIL is as important as the endorsements.
I think a monetary NIL deal is great and you can try new products and kind of promote things you like, but getting to see the benefits affecting actual people and bringing good to the community, I think is way more beneficial.
And bringing good is just what this organization has done.
Connecting the kind of campus community with the local community as well, which I think is really important in establishing like a good community culture.
We had and still have people in the athletic department that are trying to encourage our student athletes to be community-minded and provide community service. Well, this puts that on steroids. It really accelerates that idea.
And that idea of passion is something that will stick with these athletes for many years to come. For IU NewsNet, I'm Kennedy Rocklaw.
One former Hoosier just made head coaching history. Stanford head coach and IU alumna Tara Vanderveer won her 1,203rd game as a head coach, surpassing legendary Duke coach Mike Krzyzewski as college basketball's winningest coach. Vanderveer played at Indiana from 1972 to 1976 and even took Bob Knight's coaching classes during her time in Bloomington. Now Vanderveer is in her 45th season as a head coach. She was inducted into the IU Athletics Hall of Fame in 1995, received a bicentennial medal in 2021, and is expected to be back in Bloomington next season when Stanford and Indiana play at Assembly Hall. Guys, that is incredible. 45 seasons. That's like if you could combine two of our ages. That is mind-blowing.
It is. Certainly,
it's crazy.
Certainly huge for women's sports, too. Thank you, Austin. And just one more thing before we go. Hollywood returns to IU Bloomington this spring. IU Cinema released its spring schedule on Tuesday with screenings of groundbreaking films, cinematic classics, and fan favorites in its auditorium. The headliners include the Golden Globe-winning film Barbie, James Cameron's Titanic, and a tribute to Chinese-American cinematographer James Wong Howe. The full schedule is available on the IU Cinema website.
That's it for IU NewsNet for now. We have a behind-the-scenes student production team in the control room and working in the studio for this broadcast. We thank them and we thank you for watching. I'm Emma Herwehe.
And I'm Kara Adams. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at IU NewsNet. Take care, and we'll see you next week.
Okay.